So this is an opportunity that we're excited about. Like I said, the roots go back to environmental and sustainability work. We're going after what is the #1 source of greenhouse gases in the United States today, and that is transportation emissions. It's a large opportunity that we see. It's one that certainly can be met by electric vehicles. But there are problems if we do this, if we look to try to do this exclusively with battery electric vehicles. Namely, that batteries have challenges. They are heavy, they have limited range, and they take a long time to recharge, which can be very difficult on fleet operations. In contrast, and the good news is that there's another type of electric vehicle, the one that runs off of hydrogen, and one that is refueled rather than recharged. The systems driving these vehicles tend to be lighter in weight, boasting a longer range, and then, like I say, they can be refueled, and they can do this in a matter of minutes, not over hours. So there's a different use case here, and we actually see that there's a complementary nature around how hydrogen electric vehicles and battery electric vehicles play together, that we see not dissimilar to how diesel and gasoline behave in the current liquid fuels marketplace.
Well, good morning, Albuquerque. It's 9 o'clock on Wednesday, and that means it's time for 1 Million Cups. And in the finest traditions of show business, we pulled this one out at the last minute. So I'm really looking forward to this. But let's introduce a few things first. The first thing for you to do is point your phone at that QR code on the screen or on the cards that are on the tables and chairs around you. And that will let the Kauffman Foundation know that we have a thriving chapter of 1 Million Cups here, and we're benefiting from their assistance. And it's there's something in it for you. If you check in on 3 different times, you'll get a Million Cups pen. And on 6 separate occasions, you'll get the coveted 1 Million Cups notebook. And companies have been started using that notebook. So keep coming and you'll do okay. Okay, so our mission here is to make it easier to be an entrepreneur. Well, easier. It's not an easy journey. It's a lonely journey. Only about, 3 to 5% of the population has the personality profile to be an entrepreneur. And so you're not going to get a lot of help from the average collection of people. But we're here to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all new and aspiring entrepreneurs all across the United States. And we do that because there's a consistent foundation that's given to us by the Kauffman Foundation. So they train our organizers and give us the software back end. And that helps to make 1 Million Cups uniform across all chapters of 1 Million Cups. And of course, every community has its own strengths, and we certainly emphasize those here as well. Okay, bang. We are the top chapter in New Mexico, and we achieved that through a small denominator. If anybody wants to open up in Santa Fe or maybe Las Cruces, we'd be happy to give them a hand and fight it out for who's the top dog here. But there are plenty of other chapters, and I've visited a couple of these physically and some of them virtually. So if you're on the road and it's 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, check the map and see if you could drop in. There's no strangers, just friends you haven't met. So here's the key pillars of 1 Million Cups. These are presentations, not pitches. So in a pitch, you're looking for money from a customer, from an investor. You're putting your company's best face forward. There are things about your company, however, that keep you awake late at night that nobody wants to hear about. Your spouse or your family doesn't want to hear about it because they told you not to do this. Everyone else told you were crazy, but here we are. We're all nuts, right? And it's 9 o'clock on a Wednesday and we're not in an office somewhere. So, we're entrepreneurs. So this is a safe place to talk about the things that are your challenges and addressing your unknown unknowns and getting some help with those. So in this atmosphere, it's possible to foster authentic connections rather than speed networking. We're run for the community, by the community. All of our organizers are volunteers, which is not to say we're masochistic altruists. We all get a lot out of it. And we're radically and intentionally inclusive. So all kinds of people and all kinds of businesses are welcome. So you could be, a push cart or a food truck. You could have a brick and mortar operation. You could be a whiteboard company that just got a little bit of funding. You could be scaling, or you could have gone all the way, and you're here to show us how it's done. All those folks are welcome here, and they have something to offer. Okay, that's more about our mission, but I'll summarize it by saying this is an educational forum. So the best thing to remember is to be helpful and educational. So if you're talking to someone who knows a lot more about something than you do, listen carefully and ask good questions. If the situation is reversed, slow down a little bit, answer those questions carefully, and remember there was a time you didn't know that stuff either. You might hear someone say something that you strongly disagree with, and that would be a great occasion for you to keep your opinion to yourself. Okay, it's easy to apply to present. Just talk to one of the organizers. We'll show you how to navigate that, and we'll coach you in making an effective presentation. Here are our organizing team. I am Paul Sauter with Equiseek. Lisa is here with Fat Pipe. Eric Reds Whitmore is keeping everything running in Santa Fe. Laura Jepson over there helps us in many ways. Danielle is out doing important things. Keiko and Oscar are filming family documentaries, and Norm and Barb are here, our newest organizers. So thanks to all of those people that keep things moving. And that includes our sponsors. Fat Pipe, 12 years here and not a dime paid in rental for One Million Cups. We couldn't exist without the generosity of Fat Pipe. Dry Heat Photography, Deanna's here making us look good. More Than Organized, Miriam's here. Organizing your stuff, your thoughts, and providing creamer. Foundation for Sustainable Living. I don't see Frank. He's off growing beans somewhere. He provides our coffee. Beyond Energy, if coffee's not enough, you can try that. Noventum Custom Software. Brian's here. Software that doesn't suck, and donuts. And Minuteman Press for all your ink on paper needs. So thanks to all of our sponsors. And I'll hand it off to, would you like to introduce our presenter?
Sure. Seth Terry has presented here before, thankfully, because he knew what to do and we didn't have to coach him, which is awesome. So I'm actually gonna remove myself as a pin. Seth, you are on screen and I've made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your slide deck.
Excellent. So I appreciate the opportunity to be back here. At the risk of doing the infinity screen thing here, I will try to get the right tab. Excellent. So we should be there. As I say, thank you for the opportunity to present. I'm CEO and co-founder at New Day Hydrogen. We have a mission to provide the cheapest, greenest hydrogen to zero emissions fleets as they take those first steps towards getting to zero emissions. You may recall, I think I was back in December, presented. I was the kid with the fish and the crying Indian here. Some real influencers as to starting me on my journey towards environmental work and sustainability. I'm joined by a small but very, very effective team. We punch way above our weight and are very proud of that. With great experience in both sustainability, operations, alternative fueling, and finance. We are also joined and very happy to be members of a cluster group, Clean Energy Resilience Growth cohort at New Mexico State University, the Arrowhead Center. So it's another part of the great teaming, and we'll get more to how that's been very helpful for us in New Mexico. A little bit later in this presentation. At the time I last spoke to you, we had this great grant opportunity from the state of Colorado, $250,000 that we were trying to use as enticement, if you will, to bring in further investors to close a pre-seed round. In January, we were very grateful recipients of a much more significant grant award from the Federal Highway Administration under the Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Program. And so both of these are reimbursement awards, and so we do need to support them with further investment. The good news being that we were able to close a pre-seed round that got us the Colorado State grant award. So we're starting to work off of that, which is very exciting. And we're very close to executing agreements necessary for the Federal Highway Administration award. Just as an aside, that is through Colorado State University that we ran that grant application. And so we are looking to put in 3 hydrogen fueling systems that I'll explain a little bit later in this presentation, along about 170 miles of I-25 in association with their 3 Front Range campuses. So this is an opportunity that we're excited about. Like I said, the roots go back to environmental and sustainability work. We're going after what is the #1 source of greenhouse gases in the United States today, and that is transportation emissions. It's a large opportunity that we see. It's one that certainly can be met by electric vehicles. But there are problems if we do this, if we look to try to do this exclusively with battery electric vehicles, namely that batteries have challenges. They are heavy, they have limited range, and they take a long time to recharge, which can be very difficult on fleet operations. In contrast, and the good news is that there's another type of electric vehicle, the one that runs off of hydrogen and one that is refueled rather than recharged. The systems driving these vehicles tend to be lighter in weight, boasting a longer range. And then, like I say, they can be refueled, and they can do this in a matter of minutes, not over hours. So there's a different use case here. And we actually see that there's a complementary nature around how hydrogen electric vehicles and battery electric vehicles play together, that we see not dissimilar to how diesel and gasoline behave in the current liquid fuels marketplace. The significant problem with hydrogen right now, is of course that this is a chicken and egg issue. You've got to have the right vehicles, and then you've got to have the right fuel in the right place for those vehicles. In California, where they're operating this system of fueling right now, it's very expensive to get hydrogen. They rely upon a delivered model, and ultimately it ends up being about 6 times as expensive as equivalent diesel. And that really takes hydrogen off of serious consideration by fleets, even at a pilot level. So this is the problem that we've tried to address head on with our system. It's a small, containerized and modular system that is assembled offsite at our EPC partner, also on the Front Range here in the Western states, and tested at that same site before being brought on site. It also takes up a very small footprint, and it is, like I say, modular, so that we're producing hydrogen on site from just water and electricity. And we're avoiding that delivery of hydrogen, and to the extent that we can get green electrons into the system, we are making green electrons without any kind of emissions. I just wanted to revisit here. I mentioned that complementary nature for hydrogen electric vehicles and battery electric vehicles. They definitely have their pros and cons. Battery electric vehicles, as you can see, are tend to be much more energetically efficient than do hydrogen electric vehicles. There is what they call a round trip cost that goes along with hydrogen as a fuel, and that is that you're converting electrons into matter and then back into electrons, and that the physics on that deem that it will cost energy. For comparison, though, you can see that's about 40% efficiency in the hydrogen electric vehicles, which is roughly half that in battery electric vehicles. By way of comparison, if you look at internal combustion engines, they are at best 20% efficient. So we're already going to be 2x that efficiency just on an energetic basis without having the emissions. And then, as I indicated, there are those other benefits that go along with the hydrogen electric vehicles that operationally can make them a better match for a lot of cases. The lighter weight and the faster replenishing of range. So I mentioned the project that we have. It's called High 25. This is the anticipated Interstate 25 corridor project for hydrogen fueling. Through that grant application, we proposed stations in Fort Collins, Denver, and Pueblo, and that's the 170 miles of the interstate that I was discussing there. Towards that end, one of the really important components that we have here is that although these are small systems, we want to make sure that we are able to utilize them heavily, because that's going to be key in terms of being able to get economic payback on them. So we've been deliberate about achieving letters of intent from potential off-takers, including transit companies, that's via mobility services, including a car share platform. Oh, missing from this is, or somehow that didn't get on there, is a truck share platform, which is Fluid Truck. And then we also have a utility, Xcel Energy, who's in this. And then we've been speaking to a number of other folks about trying to get LOIs, really to subscribe, if you will, the number of vehicles that we need to get to support the system. By way, again, of scale on that, these systems are designed to produce only about 200 kilograms per day of hydrogen at capacity. That really means that we're looking at, say 3 Class 8 trucks could support this well, maybe something like 6 to 8 buses, and something like 10 or more medium-duty trucks. Extending all the way to the full logical conclusion of this, although we're not focused on passenger vehicles, we would be looking at probably 40 to 50 of those in order to support this. For example, if there were a cab company that wanted to take an opportunity like this. Some other important components here are that in order to get these grant awards, there's a significant piece of being able to provide benefit to disadvantaged communities, Justice 40 communities, communities that have been impacted negatively by emissions. And as you can imagine, a lot of those are, tend to be located right around highways and whatnot. And so particularly in Denver, we've made some very, very good connections, and there are a lot of people in that neighborhood, in those neighborhoods, that are looking to bring us in. So moving on, that was a round 1 charging and fueling infrastructure application. The round 2 is now open, and we have been speaking with neighbors looking to extend the spine, if you will, along I-25, and to make connection, for example, with I-10 or with I-40. Which would help get, start building a network that gets into Southern California, which, as I indicated, is already has a significant hydrogen fueling network with that. So here we've been very, very fortunate again to have the Arrowhead Center to help facilitate some of the great introductions that we've had. Not just with New Mexico State University and local community colleges, but also with governor level executive agencies, including the environment, including Department of Workforce Solutions, Economic Development, and others, as well as with national labs. So we are very confident that we are putting together another applicant group here that would work on bringing this hydrogen solution to New Mexico through this second round of charging and fueling infrastructure grant opportunity. So the last thing I'll kind of get in as we close, I mean, we're always looking, as you can see, to develop these project site locations to team with local government agencies, with local fleets, and really to try to identify sites. If we go back just for a second to that map, you can see we've got a little bit of a hole up here in I-25. Pueblo is going to be fairly high up here. We want to get down to Albuquerque. So we're very interested potentially in Las Vegas or Santa Fe and looking to fill that in. But then you can see where some of these other opportunities are with the potential partners that we have already. And then, as I indicated, we also, of course, being a startup, are going to be looking for financing to support our efforts. The really good news here is that we're getting an 80% boost, if you will, from the feds with the Federal Highway Administration non-dilutive investment in our company. So with that, I think we're at the place of leaving this open to questions, and I hope I haven't gone too long.
You did great, Seth. Thank you.
Seth, do me a favor and put your contact information in
Ooh, we're
Zoom
missing
chat.
somebody. Yeah, I called that slide. Apologies. Let's see if did I put that on the front one? Was that?
put it in chat, and then if anybody here wants.
Okay. Yeah, you bet. Happy to do that. But let's see. Yeah, there you go. It's on that first slide. But I
Perfect.
will also stick it into the chat.
Thank you. All right, so go ahead and take your slide deck down so that I can add people here to ask you questions. Form a line, make sure that you introduce yourself.
Okay.
I'm Steve with Beyond Energy Drink and Santa Fe Fashion Week. I've been following Plug Power for quite some time, that hydrogen company. How does your company work with that, or is there anything there?
So there are some similarities there, and we're really kind of looking to build a little bit off their model, and take that out into the wild, if you will, into the public sphere. Plug Power at this point is providing significant fueling for forklifts inside of fulfillment centers, for example, with Amazon, at Kroger, at Walmart. So they've got very small scale systems that are there designed to service those forklifts. We are looking to, the benefit they have is that they have a defined offtake for hydrogen when they bring that in. What we're looking to do is make sure that we have that defined offtake at a larger scale for actual over-road vehicles. So
Yeah, I've been following. Oh, sorry.
definitely.
So is Toyota still pursuing that as well, hydrogen powered cars?
Absolutely. They've got a second generation Mirai, which is a beautiful car. And it is, available. There are about, I think 18,000 of them operating in California right now. There have been hiccups in that it's been on that fueling side. Originally, and this is, one of the opportunities that we think we've identified, that the historic pricing on hydrogen has been about $16 per kilogram. But as a result of, Ukraine war, energy, other energy demands, supply chain issues, that number is up above $35 per kilogram right now. And so that's, and they've also, because these are small volume deliveries from the major gas companies coming from generally petroleum refineries, they're not, these fueling operations tend not to be the most important customers for those major gas companies. So there have been a lot of instances where these facilities have run dry.
Cool. Well, great presentation.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks very much for your presentation. So I'm Paul Sutter with Equiseek. We do genetic testing of horses. So your company is operating in the context of a bunch of other changes toward a green economy. So the power for your units, is that from the grid, or do you have local solar for that?
Yes, that's a great question. So one of the things I didn't really hit as hard on there in the presentation, but kind of glossed over, is that this delivered hydrogen is the real issue, particularly at these small volumes of hydrogen. And so for us, it's most important to be located at the point of fueling, and that's also the point of production. So generally, we're going to be reliant upon grid energy or available local microgrid solar or wind opportunities that may be available there. But we're more focused on being at the point of use and a point of customer demand. That said, the Denver operation that we're looking at right now, we're potentially teaming with a group that has a large site for brownfield development, where they're intending to put solar as well as battery charging. So again, this is exciting for us, not just philosophically on the level of wanting to produce the greenest hydrogen that we can, but there are also potential federal tax credits that are available that can help bring down the cost of hydrogen for our customers if we can make it a very green, non-carbon intensive hydrogen.
So let me follow up with that. On your one slide showing delivery of hydrogen from Texas to California, that's all produced from methane by steam reformation. And as far as its carbon footprint, it's worse than burning the methane directly. So that's the context in which this is happening. So if you were to identify one factor in the emerging green economy that's limiting for your growth, what would that be?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest issue remains for us that this is a chicken and egg problem, and what we have tried to do is shrink down to the smallest viable chegg that we could make, a combination of those two. So but it remains that chicken and egg problem, albeit a smaller one. We can solve quite easily, and at this point with the federal backing, relatively efficiently, the problem around the hydrogen infrastructure. But that still means that there's a vehicle component out there. And as I said, we depend on demand and offtake from customers in order to support the economics and the economic viability of these systems. So, that's something that we're working with our partners on. We also have had significant discussions with OEMs at both the Class 8 truck level, as well as in the mid-range and even at the passenger level. So, just as by way of example, at the truck level, Nikola and Hyzon are some of the big leaders, as well as Hino and Toyota and Daimler and Volvo. But in the medium range, you've got American manufacturers actually that are really starting to look into that. Ford and GM. Also, quasi-American is Stellantis. They're looking. There's a real opportunity that they're starting to see in that mid-range vehicle size as well. So that's a long way of answering the question. I apologize, but really it gets around that, making sure that we have enough vehicles to support offtake and that our customers are getting those vehicles.
Thank you.
Morning, Seth. I'm Dr. Norm with drnormsconnections.com. I'm in the dementia defense business. Has nothing to do with you, but great presentation. I don't know how you would address this, but I'm an old guy. In 1937, there was a Hindenburg accident, and before that, the safest, cheapest way to travel was a big old huge balloon filled with hydrogen gas. And this was the wonderful transportation system of the era until one day, one balloon blew up and all those things were done. And I'm all for green economy, and I'm sure you've got all the safety things in there, but is this an issue that you have to come up with? All it will take is one of these fueling stations to go and blow up an entire town, and then it's the end of it. So what do you have to say about all that? And I'm not predicting this is going to happen, but when I see the word hydrogen, especially with transportation, I go, wow, that's an explosive gas. What do you think?
Well, I mean, propane and natural gas are also, and methane are also used for vehicles. Those are also explosive gases. Certainly we know that gasoline and diesel can burn. Batteries can burn. So, anytime, really what we like about all of these, energy sources or energy carriers is that they are able to concentrate the energy in a way that we can use them for transportation. So they all carry risks, and they all have to be engineered. Those risks have to be engineered away to the extent that you can. So it is not to trivialize that hydrogen is not explosive, because it is. But basically, we've got risks that are associated with any other transport fuel. There are, some aspects of hydrogen that actually, make it safer in some ways than some of these other fuels. But again, you want to make sure that you engineer those away, and that's what auto manufacturers have been doing for a long time. These hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles have been in operation. As I said, Toyota is has already deployed their second generation of their Mirai. These have been running, safely without significant issues in California for well over a decade. This is not new technology. It's really about the economics of being able to deliver it. On the production side, again, you are concentrating hydrogen and you are venting off oxygen. You need to make sure that those two are not, mixed back together in an enclosed space. So they're, again, engineering and operational ways of getting over some of these safety concerns.
Well, thank you. I look forward to explosive growth.
Hi there. My name is Dr. Andrew Moser. I'm with Sacred Patterns Acupuncture. In a past life, I'm going to try and consolidate my thoughts here, so bear with me. I worked for a spark plug manufacturer here in town. what made us unique, the company was called Interpulse, made the Pulsar spark plug. It was a tech transfer from the labs where we put a capacitor into the footprint of the spark plug. My division that I worked for was for the natural gas line of the markets. So hydrogen and things like that was a whole rabbit hole that I went down, and or we as a company went down. And I mean, so some of the things that Norm talked about, the explosion factor, compression is probably the bigger focus of it. And then also the storage of hydrogen being the smallest element, it leaks out easily. And then one thought I had, there was a company that we worked with, you mentioned a lot of OEMs, was PSI. They're located up in Colorado and Power Stroke. Power Solutions, I forget what the I stands for, but they're a conversion company. They're basically an OEM. So we worked with them. I don't know if that is an area that you're working on. It sounds like you're more on the production end of the spectrum. So my question is like, what makes you unique? I mean, it sounds like you're doing electrolysis. So do you have just a special technology process that is different from everyone else? And like, where are you getting your water from? Is it from city? Is it a well?
Sure.
Things like that.
Yeah, so I'll take that last question first. I mean, I'm actually a retread water guy. And one of the things that is exciting about this is that, we have to polish water no matter what. And so, I would be happy if we could take the water from say a domestic wastewater treatment effluent and bring that back in, or some other gray water sources, or other non-potable sources that can kind of close the circularity on this. I mean, one of the nice things is we crack water, we make hydrogen gas, we make oxygen gas. We put the hydrogen gas into a vehicle. The vehicle then collects oxygen gas from the atmosphere and combines the hydrogen and the oxygen back together and makes water vapor. So there's kind of a very nice circularity in that. As an aside, I would love to be able to take the oxygen that we would otherwise be off-gassing to atmosphere and put that back into a biological wastewater treatment system. So again, to make full use of all the resources. As far as your other question, it sounded like a lot of that was related to combustion of hydrogen, and that's really not the thrust I think that we're going down. I mean, yes, there are transition solutions out there that are looking to combust hydrogen. Personally, I like the efficiency gain and the avoidance of NOx that you get when you run this across a fuel cell, making electricity on board the vehicle, and therefore getting all that extra benefit along with zero emissions, no NOx, only water vapor coming out of the back of the vehicles. Please remind me, if you will, kind of where some of the other questions were.
What makes your technology, what makes your business unique?
Thank you. Yeah, so we are an integrator. I mean, it strikes me, I'm not familiar with PSI, but it strikes me that I might be an integration if they themselves are not OEMs. So really that's kind of one of the keys that we have, is that we have innovated around the business model. To my knowledge, we are the only group that is looking to provide solutions like this for distributed production of hydrogen and fueling of hydrogen in the way that we are at the scale that we are. And so we are, this cuts both ways. One, we are reliant upon other people's technology, but that means that we're only looking at integration risk and at market risk, as opposed to also having the science and development risk that goes along with looking at your own technology. The other thing we get to do is that as this market builds, we're able to integrate other people's solutions into our system. So, for example, the most expensive component that we're looking at putting into our systems is the electrolyzer. These first electrolyzers that we're going to buy for the High 25 project we anticipate to be the most expensive and the least efficient electrolyzers that we'll ever put in again. As you start seeing more demand for electrolyzers, obviously that the production and the pricing is going to go down, with Wright's law, and you're certainly going to get some technological innovation that goes along with that. So that's really where I see our ability is to go out there and locate at the right strategic locations with the right business model. And thus far, there's a lot of open space in that realm.
That's exciting. Thank you.
Seth, Brian Steiner, Novum Custom Software. We talked after your last presentation. Congratulations on your additional milestones. My question is, when do you anticipate selling one of these, and then 5, right? That seems like.
Yeah. So first of all, we're not looking to sell these typically. We've had some people that are, say we've got to have behind the fence operations and we need to own these systems ourselves. Really what we anticipate is and forecast is that we're owner operators of these systems. That keeps the CapEx off of the customer's balance sheet, and it puts keeps it on ours and allows us to be a developer and then to make money on the margin of fuel sales. So what we anticipate is that we're going to have the first one of these operational in Colorado probably by the end of 2025 or the very beginning of 2026, and that we will very soon thereafter have the second one available. And then we're, as I say, looking to extend the spine down into places like New Mexico, up into Wyoming. We're also speaking to folks out in Virginia, where we could look to do this. Michigan, so in association with universities in those states. So we see a horizontal expansion as we go forward. As far as timing goes, I mean, the pro formas that we're putting forth, we don't want to rely upon government largesse to build this, but we're going after it aggressively right now while it appears available. I anticipate that we should have 5 of these systems up and running within 3 years.
Well, Seth, that sounds great. I think we have a January 2026 speaker already booked then.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, Seth. Great presentation. I'm JJ with Johnson Brothers Tiny Farm, but speaking from the place of Johnson Brothers Automotive. I love your business. I've long felt that hydrogen was the long-term solution to the automotive industry. And I feel like the industry made a mistake in pivoting away from hydrogen and toward electric for ease reasons 20 years ago. But my question is, kind of piggybacking on Dr. Norm's question, it seems like the vulnerability of the system, it's particularly vulnerable during the fueling process. So how are you keeping it from any kind of leaks or vapors, any of that stuff in the fueling process?
Yeah, so there are positive interlocks that are necessary because I think that I can't remember who mentioned it, but very high pressure systems. This is we're talking 10,000 psi typically for the 700 bar fueling, and so it's more than just your compressor attached to your tools, your automotive tools. This is some real pressure behind it. So there are positive interlocks that are available there. Clearly we're going to have monitoring, sensing for leaks, not just from the aspect of safety, but also from the aspect of we don't want to be adding any other unnecessary gases to the atmosphere. And by the way, economically, this it's expensive to produce hydrogen, and we don't want to have it going away in that regard. So there are a lot of motivations to avoid leaking, but number one is safety, and it's really largest around the high pressure component of that. But that's taken care of with, like I say, with the positive interlocks, and then the communication between the station and the vehicle as the fueling takes place.
Great, thanks. I'm a huge fan and really rooting for you guys.
Appreciate it. We love the help and the fans out there. So thank you.
Hey, hi, Michael Leonoff from Lockheed Martin. I'm curious about your charging stations that you said that they're containerized. And so is that fully contained so that it seems to me that you can mount these on trucks and other places and basically have a capability to deploy fuel and power to places where are lacking infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a great, are you finished? Is that the question or?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the feasibility of that, or do you need to drop a concrete pad and put in tanks, or is it something where you could roll it onto an aircraft, drop it into a disaster zone, and then be able to support the needs of, a fleet of vehicles as long as you have a source of water?
Yeah, so you need a source of water and you need a source of power. So both of those, but yeah, it's kind of somewhere in between. These are semi-permanent structures. And as such, as you pointed out, they really need to be supported with a concrete pad. You need to have the electricity. It's not gobs of electricity, but it's significant amounts. So we're talking 500 kilowatts total connected load in our system. And then we're again not talking about gobs of water, but significant water, 600 to 700 gallons per day at capacity for our 200 kilogram production. So they can be located, and we've actually been speaking with a number of folks that are looking to have these located in remote areas. One of them, a number of island applications that we're looking at. One of them with hydropower that would be the source, and that we would be able to store hydrogen at certain times of the year for energy consumption at later times of the year. But ultimately, like I say, they're semi-permanent. They can be moved relatively easily, but we're talking about a crane, and then you're talking about that supporting infrastructure that you need to have there. So kind of a hybrid, probably not so feasible on the back of a truck.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Good morning, Miriam Ortiz-Pino with More Than Organized. I'm just fascinated by this, Seth. But I wanted to change direction just a little bit. I recently listened to the Big Dig podcast, and it's all about the history and context of the Big Dig in Boston and how it had to get public buy-in and all these things through aspirational storytelling. And I thought it might be an interesting way for you to take a look at things you could bring into telling your story about how it could work, since it's such an aspirational and brand new thing. It just occurred to me that there was a lot of interdisciplinary lessons that could apply to your situation.
Thank you. I'll take a note and take a listen. Appreciate that.
Great idea. Seth, 2 final questions. I'll wrap it up for us today. The state question, red or green?
The state question, I'm sorry, red or green in terms of my color preference?
In terms of our chili.
I'm sorry. Yes. Green, hash chili,
Green.
of course. Yes.
Okay.
Colorado.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You are in Colorado. So
Sorry.
no, that's okay. We forgive you. And what's the one thing this community can do for you today?
We've had such excellent success thus far. Speaking with people, that Arrowhead has helped us connect with. It's just, for me, I'm just excited to continue, making those connections. As far as, what I did identify kind of one specific piece there, Santa Fe, Las Vegas, fleets in that area, some way of being able to, find some good partners there that would work well with some of the other partners that we're developing here. We're on a fairly quick turnaround here for this round 2 application, August 28th. So we're trying to, wrap everything together and leverage off of our round 1 application as efficiently as we can.
Great. Well, great. We will try to make some contacts for you. Thank you so much. Let's give Seth a round of applause.
Thank you.
I think I will share, well, actually, there's a couple newbies in the room, so I'd like you to come up. I think we might have one newbie online. Introduce yourself, tell us how you heard about 1 Million Cups and whether or not you have a business. And then because we are in such need for presenters, we don't have any presenters lined up for the coming weeks, so, but not one. So we need help. I'm gonna answer any question that you have about 1 Million Cups and what it's like to present and what the requirements are. So would you like to kick it off and come up and introduce yourself? We're very friendly.
I can see that. Wasn't expecting this, but so thank you.
Welcome.
So thank you for having me. My name is Leanne Heron, and I am a certified health and wellness empowerment coach. I do have a brick and mortar business here in Albuquerque, but I also do my coaching, health and wellness coaching, virtually as well. So I empower people to take charge of their health and wellness in all aspects of their life. I do. My business is Finding Resilience with Leanne. Thank you so much, Barbara. And I am also the creator and the host of the Happiness on Tap podcast. And I love to interview people that are entrepreneurs and small business owners, as well as people in the health and wellness industry.
Nice. All right, say the name of your podcast one more time.
Happiness on Tap.
Okay. Follow you, have fun. Angie, are you new? Have you been here before? Hi. Well, why
I am
don't-
new. Hi, how are you?
Good. Let me bring you up on screen so people can see you. And why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi there, I'm Angie Correa. I actually recently, well, it's almost going to be a year now. Last September, I moved from California. I'm originally from New York and now reside in Taylor Ranch in Albuquerque. I heard about another networking, so I'm really happy to be here. I am an ex-corporate executive and I support women in moving up or out of their careers. I'm also a digital marketing expert and do a lot of coaching and training and mentorship around that and navigating the online space. And I'm just really excited to kind of learn about this beautiful state and meet so many great new entrepreneurs in my circle of friends. And yeah, that's me.
Welcome. We're so glad that you joined us today. Thank you so much. Come on up, Reese. Introduce yourself and tell us about your business.
I am Reese with Reese's Dog Walking. I'm not new, but Danielle encouraged me to come up and tell you about my dog walking. I am doing dog walking and
Is it only in your neighborhood?
it's in Bosque Farms.
Okay, Bosque Farms. How far are you willing to walk those dogs? Do you have a limit? Couple miles?
I walk them as far as they have enough energy to walk.
That's good. That's good. And Reese, what's your pricing model? How much do you charge?
About $5.
Wow.
If depends.
Awesome. I wish you lived in my neighborhood. Thank you, Reese. Let's give them a That's 3 potential presenters. I'd love for you to apply. We're desperate. We'll fast track you. You get coached. So let's talk about 1 Million Cups presentations and what they entail. Do you want to come up and ask your question and we can start that way? If anybody else has a question, happy to answer it.
Hi, Raylene with Noventum. I asked earlier if there was any requirements for being a presenter or coming and attending this group. Before working at Noventum, I had never heard of 1 Million Cups. I probably could have used all of your advice and everybody's wisdom at one point in my career. So I wanted to know a little bit more about what we needed to do to be able to present and what kinds of people we're trying to attract to this event.
Well, we want all kinds of people here and it is free and open to the community. So there's no requirement in terms of attendance and presenters. We have all different kinds of industries, tech, dog walkers, candle makers, hydrogen, fuel, everything. So there's no limit. Kaufman's rules on presenting are you have to be in business 5 years or less, product or service and market, and they do prefer that the founder of the business be the presenter. We do make exceptions. We have let a couple of concept companies present here in our community. And really, it's those people who might be struggling a little bit more getting started because there's such a plethora of talent in this room and knowledge that we feel like we can help them with the leg up. I think that's about it. So the Kaufman Foundation is run out of Kansas City, and it is a huge philanthropic organization. And they do 1 million cups all around the nation. I think there's about 200 communities. And believe it or not, Albuquerque is one of the most well-attended. So we get lots of accolades for the amount of people that we're able to bring in here weekly. We actually were picked as one of the 3 beta sites when they implemented their new platform a few years ago. It was brutal and it was hard, but we got to learn how to use the platform before anybody else. And then we've been able to help other communities kind of onboard new people and figure it out. So that was really fun. I thought that was cool. Anybody else have questions? They do prefer for-profit rather than nonprofit. They do prefer, I don't think that they allow multi-level marketing because they feel like those companies are basically given a package and all of the tools that they need to start and grow their business. So they like, they like the scrappy startups, those of us who are looking for funding or self-funding. Yeah, Barbara.
You talked about, in order to present here at 1 million cups.
So in order to present, you go to 1millioncups.com and look up the Albuquerque community. And if you scroll down that page, there is an apply to present button. That application was not created by us. Some people complain about it. It is a Kaufman application. It's a little bit daunting, but they like to get you integrated into their system. So you create a login for your company. And the cool thing about that is that now you're a member of the platform, so you'll get our newsletters. If you apply to present, you will also be reminded every 6 months to come back and give us an update, which we really want to hear. Seth was an update today. He presented about 6 months ago, and today he came back and gave us his update. And also when you're on the 1 Million Cups community, you can provide feedback to a presenter on the daily page. You can go back and give them feedback if you're too shy to come up here and ask questions or give feedback in person, or you think of something later, go online to the platform and reach out to that presenter and let them know what you're thinking, because it's always helpful. Any other questions? All right, we need presenters, please apply. Let's see, we've done newbies. I can do events real quick. Do have a couple, and there's actually, this is a busy week. Well, let me check chat because it looks like there was something in chat. Is there a directory to connect with individuals in the group? Angie, you can, there is a link where you can directly communicate with the presenter. I don't think that they give you a directory of everyone inside the 1 Million Cups database. We don't even have access to that, so I don't think that they do that. And always, if anybody wants a list of the events, or you want to reach out to someone and you don't remember their contact information, reach out to me and I will try to find it for you. Happy to do that. So there's a fun event this afternoon, actually. It's a walkable Wednesday here in East Downtown. EDO stands for East Downtown. We're going to meet up at the Imperial Hotel, right up here on Central, and they have a pool, and they're going to have a couple of food trucks, and we're going to have some cocktails, and we're going to talk. So it's kind of a meet your friends and neighbors and businesses in the neighborhood. Laura and I will be there, so we'd love to have you join us. That might be fun. Tomorrow is John Boersma's Artificial Intelligence for Leaders. That's going to be across the street at the Lobo Rainforest. If you want to go to that, I can give you the link to register. On Friday, right here at Fat Pipe EBQ, we've got Karma Welchel coming back for her accounting practices for small businesses. Karma has a CPA and she knows QuickBooks, which are two things that you don't often find together. Most CPAs have no idea about the tools that the small business owners use to run their business. And she will take specific examples. If you come to this workshop with a problem, she can help you. She will help you. And she's amazing. I love her. Anytime anybody asks me for an accountant, a bookkeeper, a CPA, she's always my first referral. And then the Children's Entrepreneur Market is happening on Tuesday, August 13th. Our friend Reese will be there talking about his business, but I think it's the lotion, right? The lotion that you're going to be selling at this market. And so that might be fun to check out on August 13th at Highland Park. And I have a link for that if you want it as well. Anybody have an event that they want to share quickly? Come on in.
Hi, Jay Pullen, New Path Wellness. This coming Monday evening, I'm presenting a workshop on self-hypnosis. People often ask, well, what can you do with that? Well, the list is almost too long for me to present actually, but people have used it for pain management, all kinds of different pains, childbirth. A lot of women have found it very useful in childbirth. Shifting habits, of course, everybody thinks of smoking cessation. You don't have to have someone like me to guide you through that if you're efficient and effective with self-hypnosis. What else? All kinds of things. Spiritual development, it runs the gamut. So if you want to learn what hypnosis is, different things you can do with it, how to use it, I'll go into not just the basic hypnosis, but imagery and some other things. So pretty broad amount of information, a lot that you can use. That's this Monday evening, Friday, 5:30 to 7:30 at my office on South Carlisle. I've got some flyers here if you want to pick one up.
Hey, you guys, we run a WordPress work-along, so you can get help on your WordPress website. That's August 20th from 6 to 7:30 at Ideas and Coffee.
Hello, Deanna Vincent with Dry Heat Photography, and I'm having another headshot mini session event here on August 28th from 10:30 to noon. So that it'll be right after 1 Million Cups. And it's very quick and easy. It's $69. You're in and out in 10-15 minutes, and it's a great opportunity to update your headshot. So get with me on that if you need the link to the page.
All right, thanks everybody. So it's been another great week here, and I think you can see from today's presentation that there's a really big problem that society is facing, and any one company is just doing one piece of it. So I think in the presentation today, he's an integrator, he puts things together, and he has a solution for a small space in the green energy problem. There are other people working on other aspects of their problem. We know we have to solve this problem. There is a fantastic opportunity to work in the transition to green energy. And if any of you are interested in that or interested in working with people who work on that, we're entering a golden age for that. We've got to do something about this before 2030, seriously. And everybody's working hard on it, and I'm sure we'll get there. But it's going to take a lot of entrepreneurs, and there's going to be some successes and failures, and I hope you'll be among the successes. So let's spend the next week lifting up entrepreneurship in New Mexico. See you next Wednesday.
Bye.